speech is on the background. And
Yeah. Can you check the link? And the other thing is, I have to check. If they are or not.
check this with you.
Is there no sound? You have headphones on. Okay. Yeah, but go out and Christoph, can you use this one? Is there an echo? How is it? Is it silent or is it loud? Then it's not the right one.
Paskaties, kad es sāku runāt iekšā.
What is now?
Okay, now one check. You should be hearing.
That means yes or no? No?
I think it's coming from the microphone.
But this one is so silent. What is now? Christoph, you have to listen. You have to listen. Take. What is the link? What is the link? Wait a minute, I can tell you where is the link.
It's already through the YouTube. Okay, in YouTube we can have anything like up to 1 minute delay.
Sorry?
Like if you were listening through the YouTube,
Around 30-40 minutes.
Seconds, yeah. So
where can I get actually the link?
You can listen from here right away. It will be easier for you.
No, the thing is, it's not easier because then we have an echo. If I start listening here, then we will have an echo. But we can listen if you can give me the headphones. Because otherwise we are having a funny situation here, like.
Using the mixed microphone at the moment, I think.
The thing is, if I make loud, then it takes. Just go out and then listen, please. Okay, can you get the streaming link? Can you give it to me? Or can you give it to him?
With you.
Es nedomāju, ka Rumkitam vispār Rumkita mikrofons ir ieslēgts šobrīd. Aizej viņam, tur, kur ir settingi pie audio. Nē, settingos audio, vienkārši vajag apskatīties, kas ir nomapots ar audio.
Tur ir tagad, pagaid, jā.
Un te vienkārši uzliec uz kaut kādu, piemēram, auxiliary 4. Room USB digital audio. Okay. Hey, one.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So let's start. Let's save your time and my time. Be respectful. And welcome to our 16th DevOps Talk. I'm Agnes. Nice to see you all. I'm the first one here because I just recently joined to this community, DevOps slash Agile community now. So I will be the host of the event and I will guide you through all of this event. So what we are, we are part of Techies and Politics. I believe you know that already. And we are creating this community to organize these kind of events with some our goals to socialize, to share ideas and experience. You can just see the icons as well. To learn, grow DevOps community and now Agile community as well. And just because we love DevOps. So enough sitting and listening to me. Now, one small task for you now. So let's start to count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
3, and go on. I remember the number.
1, 2,
3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
3.
1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
3, 1, 2,
3. The next one, you are like 1, 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1,
2, 3.
3, 1.
So now we will have 3 huge groups. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. You can gather together now in one group. And in the next slide, please, you will see the questions you need to talk about. I need to. Okay. So, very quick catch up. So, just your name and discuss those 2 questions. Each person has 30 seconds, even less. You can do it in 20 seconds. So, stand up. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Go together and discuss.
Number 1 without the chairs. Here. Number 1. We don't need those chairs. Right, circle. Don't be shy. No cheers. Come. Come closer. Smaller circle. So they don't hear a whisper.
Group and discuss. So time is already going. So just start to talk and discuss those questions.
Okay.
In one
Right
group.
here. Start.
Well, frankly speaking, I'm kind of cheated right now, so I'm kind of disappeared. But name DOB, nice to meet you guys. Check my profile.
So I think there's
Now I don't have my version, it's not documented. But I don't think it's now.
Favorite time music?
Well, night. My favorite time because my time mostly I'm comfortable. My homework was already done, so it's
My favorite time of the day.
me? Are you back with me, yeah? I don't want to yell because then I will lose my voice after 10 minutes, so be gentle to me as well, thank you. Just kind reminder for those who haven't checked in yet, because we need to understand how much beer we need. There's all this, so just find him during the break as well, it's okay, just that he can digitally check in our app. Thank you. So, this time about the task. So how it was? Very hard? Extra hard? Please don't do that anymore like for us.
I didn't have the chance to speak.
Or this kind of.
Oh, that's bad. You can share your... Like the purpose of this task was just to break the ice a bit. So now you have like a topic at least to talk about during the break. So you can catch those people with whom you talked or you didn't talk and just ask the same questions and you can discuss or continue the same topic. Open it more widely. And that's it. So as easy as it is. And you can also come to me, ask the same questions. We can discuss the same in the break. I would love to know what are you doing and if your profession will disappear, what would you do then? Just that kind of small intro. So, about the DevOps talk, so this time we meet Agile, so that's different. And what we will do today, so our agenda, so we will have Jānis Orlovs, so he is a DevOps platform engineer with 10 plus years of experience in the field. And he will talk about automation compliance in Terraform via Open Policy Agent. Then we will have some fun with DevOps Karaoke. Those who are here not for the first time, remembers for the last times, it was something fun. Then we will have a break, food and drinks, and continuing networking and asking those weird questions. Food will be supported from Arvato Systems and Accenture, so thank you for that. And yes, applause is And then we will have our lightning talk by Aldis. And after that, Rita, who is the 6 years in the field, and she is awarded as Accenture Latvia October champion for driving outstanding improvements at the client project as a Scrum Master. And she will talk about who said Agile is going to save the world. And then we have our DevOps talk. So, long agenda, but I believe you are strong and we have a lot of drinks and food to stay focused. Let's move on. So, this is our core team. Applause to them who helped us. That's why this is happening already like 16 times. And as you can see, we are like growing. So some of the Agile practitioners are coming to us and we are growing as a community. You are also welcome to join and help to build all this community. Our mission is to encourage DevOps and Agile and everyone interested in DevOps or Agile to interact and socialize what we did today and what we will do during the break, which will improve and increase the understanding of the need for Agile. And our goals is socializing, sharing acquaintances, DevOps and Agile community growth, and more than just talks, and of course, happier specialists. If you want to join, just ping us there. We are everywhere. Facebook, LinkedIn, Meetup, homepage. You can find us easily. Sorry?
Okay.
Yes, here as well in Workland, for sure. And if you want to present, if you want to talk, and we are looking for speakers. So you can just join and present your topic. We will support you and help you to prepare if there will be a need. So you can also just come to me, to Aldis, or to all social media and sign up. So, thank you for our organizers, our supporters. Arvato Systems, Emergent, Evolution, Accenture, FITA, and Strategic Staffing Solutions. And our main sponsors, Arvato, food is from them today. Accenture also supporting our break today, and not only. And of course, Workland. So that's why we are here and we are like meeting here. So maybe Andrea, you could also tell a bit more about Workland and...
Yeah.
Not today, Okay.
Before the next session, I'm ready. Or after the next session.
Okay, understood. So he's the one who is supporting us, and Workland is supporting us. So also, if you have any questions, you can just catch him during the break and ask anything what you want about shared office space here and what kind of benefits it could bring to you. So the first presenter, Yanis, stage is yours.
Oh, thank you.
Do you get my sound?
Are you the last one?
Yep. Traditional DevOps problem.
Your presentation. It's a presentation on the computer.
It's on my computer. Yep. No, I can connect on HDMI.
Yeah, you can use it.
Okay. Good. Just a second. Okay. So, what I'm gonna talk today. So, in short, today I will talk about my experience, why this talk exists, why exists. Do other things like costs and expenses for companies. Then I will show a little bit about Open Policy Agent in general, and then will be 2 demos. Hopefully they will work. Then there will be conclusion, and then there will be Q&A. So let's start with my experience, and probably everybody else. So we have got, there is pretty common and pretty standard workflow how we do our development in DevOps, in software development, and so on. We receive some requests, we develop solution, we test it, we review, we send to review for pull request or merge request, depends, and then we do the deploy and repeat the cycle. But if you work in enterprise, you probably know that it's not so easy, and there's a lot of problems involving not many things, also involving complying with the standards. So to comply with all the standards, what goes into the coding when you have got review phase, someone have to review it. You have got tagging policy. Maybe you will forget about it. Maybe you have got naming convention. Okay, it's again manual task to check. Then there is always, if you are in regulated industry, for example in banking, or anybody else which works with financial data or personal data, you most likely will get manual security sign-offs or semi-automatic security sign-offs, which will put you a little bit back in your shadows. And then there is always question how after you deploy, how you will gonna do the continuously enforcing the standards. So, and from business side, this is number from one Deloitte paper. It's 5% of each bank's on average cost for on operational costs is just for compliance. It involves IT compliance, it involves legal compliance and all, but it's like it's 5 on average, but upper numbers is something 10%, lower numbers is 2%, depends on how well the institution is run. So it's a pretty expensive problem, and taking account that we are in very interesting and economical places, this for compliance, reducing costs for compliance would be a lot of very well hearing ear pairs. And then the next reason why this talk exists is the fact that platform engineering is getting more traction. There is one very good book called Team Topologies, which emphasizes about platform teams and in general, like how to organize flow very efficiently. I would definitely recommend everybody to read this book. It's one of the best last few years. So, made book about how to organize flow, but the idea is pretty simple. There are 4 types of teams. One stream-aligned teams are like application or feature development teams. Then there is enabling teams like project management teams or agile teams, and there is complicated subsystems. Think about, for example, streaming teams, and if you are in streaming, or database management teams. And then there is platform teams, like DevOps teams, like security teams, the teams who provide the base infrastructure services. And the main idea is that you can expose your services as a service to other teams. In this case, we expose compliance or other standards as a service. And then the last not the least part is that policy as a code is getting more and more traction for the last years. Here is a report from InfoQ Trends. This is last year because they do the report for DevOps in the middle of the year. So policy as a code is each year is moving up more and more into the majority stages, and that's it's getting better and better. So what is policy as a code? Policy as a code is all your requirements, what you get starting from very basic stuff like tagging standards for machines, or not allowing root access to machines and so on. But these are not anymore written into some obscure documents or wiki pages, but it's put on the code, expose it to other teams, and you can use as service or API, and basically consume it programmatically, not just let's say not as you can shift left basically. And for today, we'll talk about Open Policy Agent, which is part of the Cloud Native Foundation. This project is already graduated from Cloud Native Foundation. It's been around since 2015, so it's pretty mature. The community is pretty big, and it's mainly developed by company Stira. They have got open source version, of course. They have got also paid version. But yeah, and there's so what is Open Policy Agent? Basically, it's decision engine. You provide your request by your service in JSON format. Then there is Open Policy Agent, which based on the policy, which is written in a Rego language, just says yes or no. Is it good or not good? There is a lot, and you probably will ask, what is service? In this case, service is almost any for DevOps folks, almost any modern system or not so modern system which can give out output in JSON format. It's pretty well. It's pretty high performance parser. If you go a little bit deeper, you can find that there is a lot of many interesting ways how to use it, not just for infrastructure services, but also you can use it, for example, like most interesting thing probably I was seeing it was used for one anti-money laundering system and know your customer system where you can load into the data and just fetch and decide if is it good for you or not good for you. Yep, and and as I mentioned, it have got pretty big ecosystem. Like a lot of things you can do it with open policy agents. So very interesting thing you can integrate with your Google Calendar. One interesting scenario what I have done is like you put windows where you cannot deploy on this. Where you cannot deploy, for example, on Fridays, and if you try to deploy on Friday, it just denies the deployment. And now let's go to the part of Terraform versus OPA. Why Terraform? Terraform is one of the most popular tool what currently being used as infrastructure as a code. I'm using it on daily basis a lot, so I thought it would be really cool to showcase some cool features what I really liked about this and how the demo will work. There is the flow will be that we will do two things. We will develop policies for open policy agent, which one demo will be just really basic, just check do we comply with some cloud object standard, and second part will be a little bit interesting. We will score our deployment. Can we do it automatically, or we should we put on review this? And yeah, let's go to the demo part. Demo gods. So let's start with the demo one. For this. Do you see it?
No, not really, because you could kill the lights, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. So what we have got here, we have got a very simple thing: Google Storage Bucket. Written it.
Control plus. Oh, doesn't work on that. Control plus.
Okay. Is it better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so very nice. So we have got very simple bucket. What we want to create, it's, let's say, test open bucket, and we want to create into the region Europe 1, and we have got some very strange storage class standard one, which is not existent. And we have got also open policy. What we have got main package, and you can name it how you want. What this line does, it imports. We will prepare Terraform plan document JSON, and we will import it into this policy that it's being parsed. Then next part is we define the resource what we will gonna work with. In this case, it's Google Storage resource type is Google Storage Bucket, and we will require that bucket is located into the European Europe North 1 region, and deny and what here is and here will be error message if bucket is not in the correct place, then it's gonna be denied. So let's do the magic. What we will gonna do? We will run Terraform plan. We'll output Terraform plan to binary, then just replace to just convert to Terraform plan JSON. Oh, sorry. Okay. So we do just regular Terraform plan. And we have got already saved here. Okay, sorry, wrong direction. We will do Terraform plan, and we here we try to create bucket in perfect place. We'll copy this. Just a second. And what we will gonna do now? We will execute open policy agent test, which is OPA. I have already installed OPA on my machine. We will do OPA evaluation. We will format in pretty, you can format in JSON and so on. As you see, we will call the policy rego, and we will input the Terraform plan. And we will test from our policy where we have got, and we have got what we have got. Yeah, we have got policy deny policy. We will test out, and okay, and that's fine. That's fine because it's in correct place. If I will change it to the for example, not TV, it should be failing. It's not failing. Demo gods are not with me today, so let's assume it worked well. Let's go into the second part. Hopefully, it's gonna be better.
Shouldn't you build Terraform template after you changed?
No, it's like I changed the policy, but not the because now policy is trying to check if the you can see it as, like code is here, location is not 1 in Terraform code, but policy is not 2, so it should be working. But fine, let's sort it out later. Probably I have broken something during the last one. So let's go to the next scenario. First was really simple, but second part is a little bit more interesting. You probably have been in the situation where you where you have, for example, really small change. I don't know, change some tag on machine, and you have to go through the whole pull request process. And in smaller company and small organization is pretty fast, but let's assume you are in a big company and the change request will take n ages, for example. And in this scenario, I have the open policy agent have got very nice, neat feature. You can set up the gates. You can set up, for example, for simple change, you can set different types of how how breaking change it is, and you can put it all the score together. And if it's past the mark, then you can, for example, do approvals automatically if the impact is low. So let's hope in this case is better. So in this case, I have got prepared policy. What we're gonna do? It's do the Terraform analysis. We again input Terraform plan, and we set the score called, I'm calling it blast radius. I'm setting score 30, for example, for like. And what we do, we set here weights for changes. For example, here in this example, we will create 3 objects, but here we have got Google Compute instance. Weight for the delete action is 100. For creation is 30, and modify 1. Same is for Google Storage Bucket, and so on. Then what we do next, we set here what resources what we are looking for in this policy. In this policy, we are looking at the Google Compute instances, Google Compute Disk, and Google Storage Bucket. And we set authorization by default that quality gate is false. It's by default it will fail. And in this case, authorization service will be true if happens 2 things. If the score for our change will be less than blast radius, in this case it's 30, and it does not touches our Google Compute Disks, and this is definite here. We set the resources what we cannot touch. For example, it's really nice, yeah. It's taken from initial example was from IAM, but for example, you don't change anything if you change something in IAM, by default it denies, or on this case Google Compute Disk. And then there is code which defines all the counting and so on. And let's try this time. Let's hope it's gonna be better. So we will run Terraform plan. Let's check. Okay. And what we will do the scoring. Okay, because we can do the decision. So what we have got here is like OPA, exact decision. We in our code we do the analysis scoring part, bundle policy, and we do this. So, and what we get here is score 31. If we choose, and it's the fact that we are trying to create a Google Storage Bucket, network, machine, and this. So, and then we can try to do the score, and we can do the function out. And we are not like, it's not automatically going through. But if we change one thing, we change 2 things. For example, we set our blast radius to 60. We do the decision. Why it's? Do you know why it's failing currently? because
check again the
No.
scoring, no?
no. It's failing to the fact that the authorization will pass if both things are true. Score are less than and touches disks. So what we do, we comment out disk checking. And what we do one more time, and now the authorization is true. And this can be very cool. This can make your life easier. For example, for small changes, you can set like open policy for your CI pipeline, for example, to like I don't know tag changes, and it can go through automatically without further manual pull request review, or and this can make your life much more fast and much more easier for companies yeah yep that's basically demo from my side. So let's go to the let's go to the okay. Okay, yeah, the good things. First, the bad thing, the second part. Regular language can be sometimes very complex, and sometimes you don't know why it works and or doesn't work, because you have to tinker a lot with the JSON objects, and it's quite error proof. Other thing, good part is that if you implement scoring mechanisms and this, if you, for example, implement scoring mechanism, then it can make your flow faster and automate things. Good thing about Open Policy Agent, you don't have to reinvent all the policies by yourself. You can, there is a lot of community around it who are implementing, for example, CIS benchmarks, or like for PC and ESS, you can implement a lot of things on there's already pre-created for you and in policy format. And one more important thing, out of the box, Open Policy Agent works only on diff. So if you decide to apply on your existing infrastructure, you will have the problem. Something will be in line with policies, but the change will be what have been on the change will be on to the compliant, but old stuff what have been already deployed, it will not be changed because it fetches only changes what you apply through that. And there is always ways, if you have ways how to get around it. It's not so easy way, but as I mentioned, that's quite a nice way how to do things and make life a little bit easier for this. Yep. So Q&A.
Pauses, to be honest.
Yep.
How does it integrate with configuration management tools, for example, Ansible, that it doesn't give like diff before it just executes?
So basically, I can show you. Yeah, you just put out. So in basics, it's very simple. You get out from your thing. For example, Ansible is also always more or less is basically JSON. Yeah, you get out the change of JSON. You get out JSON object, and then you just parse it. Because basically, what we are doing here, I can show you. For example, this simple basically simple policy when is just like what it is, like change after location, which basically corresponds to Okay. So in the end, it's like changes. Resource changes, and here it is like the same policy. In the policy we define, here it is like, yeah, like here one resource changes, resource type object. It just it's basically it's good efficient JSON parser with some decision engine in some places. It's not like magic. In the end, it's not like magic, but it's like efficient JSON parser with kind of nice better UI. Then you don't have to reinvent yourself everything from scratch.
Basically, static code analysis. Right?
Yeah. Oh, of course, there is. Steer have got the enterprise edition where it follows a little bit more, but like I haven't used and it's quite expensive. So. Yeah.
There was one more question.
I have the same question.
Oh.
But Jason was last.
Yeah, it's JSON parser.
One more question. You basically said yourself that video is kind of complex if you define rules. Like how would you convince your boss and say, let's go full in a video if we have other compliance mechanisms already in place? That's the same point.
If you have got other compliance mechanisms, it's like you have to look very from one point of view, it's like okay. So there was this number 5% of 5 on average 5% on operating expenses goes to compliance. So in the times like these, when the money is not anymore cheap and it's not, it's there is much more. It's much more people are better hearing the opportunities to save some money. If you have got all other compliance mechanisms, this can be not just like you don't have to replace. You can put in together. Like there is a really nice project. There is like a really nice project. Test, which is like which is subsidiary of the Open Policy Agent, but you can write pretty good unit tests for Terraform and other languages. There is like examples like basically anything in JSON. You can all the modern stuff you can put, and they have got pretty nice pre-commit hook, so you can integrate with your so. I would say that don't throw everything out, but you can try out. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not better. Like depends on, because like language itself is like it's kind of specific and not. I'm using IntelliJ. The integration with it's not so good. Probably with VS Code is a little bit better, but again, like typing is not perfect in this case. It's not like it's not HCL or even Kubernetes YAML or something like that. That's yep.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, go on.
Why do we need use open agent policy for PCI DSS?
But there's a you don't need, but there is a lot of requirements what you can automate, like for example network segregation rules and so on. Like that something doesn't happen out of the box, but you don't have to use it. You can use it to achieve some kind of compliance parts. It's not like it's gonna help you, but it can. Imagine you are from the security team. You can expose your rules for configuration management. You don't have to review all the stuff. You can expose your rules through the Open Policy Agent bundle, and says, okay, here's our rules. What you cannot do with, for example, with network security groups, you cannot open all ports to everywhere, and you publish as bundle of policies, and then every other teams are consuming it. This can be a very good way how to do it, but it's not requirement. Like it's yeah, but you can expose your work as API. Like basically your requirements to security, your requirements to government, your requirements to cost tagging and so on. You can expose as a set of rules. And I know that now cloud providers are getting better on this, but before it was quite a nightmarish to follow all the mandatory tags and so on.
More questions?
Yep.
What would be like team size when you should start considering not even this, but in general, so, compliance and this like from 2-3 people team, it doesn't make sense probably. It should just burden that, and you will stop doing that.
I would say that the moment when you have got like okay, for example, I would say that you have got at least more than one team, and okay, DevOps is all about against silos, but when these platform teams, for example, for security, for the DevOps, for the running some databases and so on, the moment when you have to start the multi-team handovers, multi-team code reviews, it could be the good way when start looking. But while you are small, like you can use, for example, for conf test for unit testing, but in general, the open policy agent as a whole, quality gates and so on, like try to avoid as much as possible, because it will make your life a little bit slower. But it's for small teams. For big teams, like it can make your life faster, as to the developer faster. But for smaller teams, it will be much slower if you start doing everything there.
A question from Wade again?
Yeah, I have a follow-up question, like the similar question which has been asked before. That okay, we, like you said, that if you are building a smaller team, you cannot take this as an approach. And that's the same question. Like if I'll involve in my telephone plan, I'm already doing all these things while creating a plan, by creating or developing a infrastructure.
Yeah.
But if I by using the conditional statements, anyhow, we plan these kind of things in our code itself. So learning a new Redo language and putting into a different file or thousands of policies I have to write and maintain it, and anyone can change it easily. So is there an overhead, or what are the limitations we can maintain? Or because it's a compliance in a file which is on open code, anyone can go and change.
Yeah, you can, basically there is opportunity to open policy agent is already built in the way that the idea is that you can share you can bundle policies into some. If I remember, latest version is already even OCR, Open Container Registry format compliant, but you put in some centralized location and just download this package from that. And the idea would be that there is one team who is maintaining the policies, the other team is just doing the development. Like the most successful place where I have used this is like it was for the Docker files and Docker containers, like where we just set no root containers at all. Like it worked very well, for example, because Docker files was written by many teams, like DevOps teams, like developers and so on. There was a little bit difference, and we put this mechanism in place in CI system, like before deployment, we just checking linting the file, saying okay, there is root user, we just deny and say like here you cannot run container with root and so on. Another thing is like why these systems are getting a little bit more traction than it was before. It is because Kubernetes is retiring their pod security mechanism, and now you have to use some other solution. Either it's like mostly it's built on the admission controllers, and there is open policy gatekeeper, and there is Kyverno. If just my personal note, if you are just if you looking for policy as a code for Kubernetes, then better look on Kyverno. It's a little bit easier, and it gives a little bit more features on mutation side, not just like checking is it within in line of the policy. But if you are more than Kubernetes, then open policy is like the way how to do it if you are doing on cloud native side.
So that's what I'm thinking, like if we have already each and every tool, if we talk about AWS, we can write a customized code as well, and at the time of creation also we can write a customized policies as well. But this is something which we need to externally, if for all other tools we need to create a policy. So can we just create a one compliance file and use it all other tools as well?
Yeah, you can share.
Or is there any tool specific we need to embed every time?
No, of course you have to like.
And that's what the advantage of
data how you define instance for Google Cloud and AWS is different, so you will have to have some different data model in the backend. But you can share the policies. There is a really nice project called which is they are trying to do the libraries for all the as much as possible solutions. So you can do it like for AWS. They have got for Google Cloud, basically all the major clouds, Kubernetes and so on. Like it's already up and running, and there is a lot of pre-configured rules already in the place.
Yeah, let's do.
Thank you. Sorry, we don't have no more type of questions. So just catch Janis during the break, or stay for DevOps Talk as well, so we can bring up all those questions and continue to discuss. We just need to move on with the DevOps code. Okay, thank you, Janis.
Okay. Well, Andre is still. We're not on break. We're not on break. We still have DevOps Karaoke. So Andre is trying to
special fun today.
Yeah, to run it. How many of you already know what is DevOps Karaoke? Raise your hand. How many of you have already done DevOps Karaoke? Don't be shy, raise your hand. Excellent. So some people already know. For those who...
Subtitles.
What is that?
For those who are not speaking English, so it's...
Okay, that's a very terrible translation.
Okay, I can switch it off, but it's a special version.
You can leave it.
No, you shouldn't say special words because it's not understanding Latvian, for example.
We're speaking English.
Oh, okay. Now it's understanding good.
Okay. So yeah, for those who do not know what is DevOps Karaoke, it's basically you get a set of random slides, you get 5 minutes, 15 slides, and you just need to make up a presentation as you go. So the good news is you will not need to volunteer for this because this time we have volunteer. So, Kristaps. No, you don't need it. You don't need it.
So to be honest, I owe this. It's not like I volunteered to kind of give you a free pass this time. So that's one. Second thing is, the biggest curiosity for me is like, which is going to be more interesting, my English or that Latvian translation? It's coming up there. So there is some kind of intrigue for me as well. A part of. By the way, who knows what's on the pictures?
No one knows.
One knows.
Okay.
Someone knows. Okay.
Okay. 5 minutes. 15 random slides. Each slide 20 seconds. And are you ready?
No?
Okay,
Let's go.
You can start.
Alright. Okay, welcome to the training. As we talked about open policies and stuff, so as you know, safety and security is really important stuff. So it is very, very important that you do things right, because if you don't, and we use a lot of power these days with the IT systems, they might heat up. And if they overheat, then we need to call our fixing team. And those guys, they are very straightforward because they're using the tools they know how to use. And therefore, even if you think they understood what you asked from them in the first time, always check. Because if you want your systems to be running smoothly, we've come to the era when every word that you say can be transferred into some kind of vision and picture. And if you're not very clear with your words, some systems might not really understand. And we thought our boss is the one who is not understanding us all the time. Currently, I'm not sure whether I want to talk to that guy. And obviously somebody liked him. That's kind of explanation for the cop. Or the one who is now really translating real time. Andre, is that you writing those texts up there? Those who have tried ChatGPT, at some point, if you did it hard enough, you might think that the guy on the previous slide is the one who is answering your prompts. And there are not enough videos on YouTube that kind of proves that, hey, you can actually piece of silicon, which somehow humanity taught how to do computations, and the trend is, it's kind of fun, but those who are old enough to see the old Terminator movies are starting to think, hey, this thing might go out of hand. And we might play chess against the thing there, but it might not be that nice and thoughtful after some time. Anybody knows who that is?
Let's start.
Yeah. So, for those who didn't watch Game of Thrones, Ned Stark was a character, one of the good guys in the season 1. It didn't end up good for him at the very last episode of the season 1. This would be kind of the interpretation of, like, if he was a programmer, that was kind of his end of the storyline. Unfortunately, that's kind of Game of Thrones stuff, and due to some very, very, let's say, well thought and kind of open policy driven judgment on which character should survive, the trial thought, okay, we're cutting him. We need to save resources to the other guy, which performed very well in his casting. To be honest, I have no idea how HBO makes these decisions and produces something with the very random cast, and suddenly the whole world loves it. And this is the other one. The whole world loves it, and it's like, what, 7th, 8th sequel of the Terminator? for me as IT people, and probably for those of you who work here, honestly, I'm scared as well. Like, yes, they say, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fun. It's just chatting, except we have no idea how it works. But it gives us answers which are kinda seems legit, but we have no clue how it came up with that. So is this how the backend of the OpenAI works?
Yep.
Trust the sales; they never lie to you. But that's kind of the sad truth. We all think like, wait, it looks fancy on the screen. It talks to us, then it should be good, right? Has anyone seen? They actually did try with the chimpanzees and kind of messing up with the AI. The results were like the ones on the first slide. But to be honest, my time is up.
Yes, your time is up. So thank you.
Anyway, thanks for having me 5 minutes. And Andrei stepped off the phone and off the computer, and no, it didn't stop. Okay, I'm out. AI is listening to us, and I'm honestly scared.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, if you want to volunteer for this, in that case, you can just find me somewhere and volunteer for the next event, or we will try to add finally a proper section where you can volunteer whilst you're signing up for this event. So yeah, thank you to Kristaps, and
thank you to Arturs.
And what
we
else?
have some slightly changes in our agenda. So for those who need the restroom, you can use it now. For those who can spend more 7 minutes with us, stay with us. We will have all this with his lightning talk. While everything is managed with his presentation, then you can use facilities. And then we will have the break for sure. I promise. It will be there. So if you need to
I
go,
can start,
go.
But I need to do one thing, so don't show it. I need to do one thing. So use the restroom.
Because we need to check in.
It's gonna be long.
It's gonna be long, exactly. Use the restroom. I don't know why she's saying 7 minutes. It's agreed to be 5 to 10. So you're doing the average. I get it.
While he's preparing, I can say why I didn't have time to prepare for my talk before the talks because I didn't have the right sweater on. Very easy. Now I'm corporate branded, so welcome to work there. And nice to have you here.
Where's browser?
Don't get nervous. I'm not the IT guy. So get more nervous.
What is happening? Where's the browser?
You want the browser?
Yeah, no one told you, right?
No, no one told me.
It's extra cost.
There is no browser actually.
There's no more browser. There's just prompts.
You know, I'll probably go without a browser then. Can we do a browser?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that I know what I need on a browser? So you don't go away and support me because at some point I'll need the browser. And what do we need?
Do we have first timers here? Or like ever? Raise hand. Good. And those who are second or like 16th time with us? Okay, look around. So now you know the people with whom you need to talk during the break. So the first timers with those who are here second, third, 15th time. Just ask them why you are coming here. For 16 times, like, or for 3 times. For sure, like why I need to come back here? Like why you were like stay.
There's no
So yeah, use the
HTTPS.
later with the food just to chit chat about this.
No
www.
Should also work then. No, that means someone has done.
Yes, you are right, but you are not.
Catch all, you know. There's something about catch all.
Okay. No, don't put it there. Why are you doing it? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I should. Okay. It's not for you, it's for us. We're just entertaining.
Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Just take it in.
And just move it, yeah. Okay, and
The good thing is nobody was seeing it on YouTube.
magic, it works. Should I save my password?
No.
No? Okay, if you don't need it, good.
But you can save mine card.
And then I understand that magic hasn't happened.
You have to bring it up.
I need to do that.
Yes.
With the typical present button. Like this. It works? It works. Okay, so why the change in the schedule? Because we're waiting for magic. And when the magic happens, then we'll see what do we do with the magic. I'm not magic. In a way, I'm trying to save the situation, so kind of bear with me. Bear, I'm not good in English, not my thing, don't like it, whatever. So, quickly trying to jump in what I was supposed to say. So first of all, the first lightning talk. What you haven't seen before in these events is a lightning talk as a small event in middle of everything. It should be 5 to 10 minutes, and we never had one because no one ever applies to speak, even at the lightning talk. So that's a message to you. If you have a short topic you want to talk about, just drop us an email and we'll figure it out. 5 to 10 minutes. Pitch your product. So typically, lightning talks are used for pitching. And our rule, our DevOps and Agile, I'm now making up a new name which doesn't exist. So the team which was previously on the slide, our rule is that if someone is doing a lightning talk, that person needs to give something to the audience. So if it's a simple product pitch, then it's kind of not a nice thing to do. Who cares about your product, kind of? So give something to the audience. What I'll try to do today is kind of give you one of examples how to do a product pitch. It's gonna be my first product pitch in my life. Yeah, so I'm gonna teach you. Right? But some people who know me, and I'm kind of feeling very comfortable because I kind of feel that a lot of people know me, I'm not a good person. So for those who know me, you're probably expecting that I'll talk again about the golden circles. Uldis always does that. You show him a deck, he talks about golden circles. So this time, I'll try to do something else. And this thing, I haven't applied ever in my life, but should I click plus or this is a wrong remote? This is the right remote, I hope. And additionally, it's kind of everything what's in my notes. So, I'll be honest with you. I was unemployed a little period in my life. Some of you know that, others don't care, obviously. But what happened is, during my unemployment, I met a few people, and I met Alexei. And he's somewhere there, sitting. And we started talking about the thing what Alexei is building. So I'm going to talk about that. Alexei hasn't paid me a single euro. I'm going to do a product pitch for him. Guess where this will go? Anyhow, so I hope I said everything what I was supposed to say. This thing works? Yeah. And who has heard about the capstone as a product pitch? Not just product, as a pitching technique. To me it was new. And why capstone? Because it consists of 7 or 8, it should be 8. It is 8 phases, and I'll quickly go through them during my product pitch. So you'll see kind of what's the methodology and how it works in real life, if I'll make it, obviously. So, get into it. How much time I have spent? Now,
I hope that now my 10 minutes start.
You have just 9 minutes.
But the food hasn't arrived yet, right? So that's the thing. Yeah, so first of all, we start with the clarity. I'll do it in a little bit different way. I will not tell you that I'm talking about clarity, that's kind of weird. You read it on the slide. I'll try to do the pitch. Are you following? I hope you are following. So, first of all, who I am. I am Aldous. I am happily married. Some people are making jokes when they see my profile picture here and there. That's on their own conscience. Then I am officially certified DevOps leader. Kind of means something. Not that hard of a thing. Try it. And then what I do actually is, for many years I've been hiring people and I've been growing teams. So getting people into IT field from universities, reskilling, and kind of helping them grow and helping teams grow. Kind of growing teams, that's also important. And then why you should be listening to me, because I actually have done like 400 job interviews. I haven't tried counting them. It's just kind of in average, if I remember that I was doing like 3-4 interviews per week, and that was ongoing for a few years, on off. Anyhow, I'm guessing some 200 hires, but I don't really have the data. But kind of, I have done a lot of job interviews. I should understand, kind of should know something about this topic. So what I have felt during all that interview process, years ago doing technical interviews, later on doing so-called hiring manager interviews or final interviews, I have found out that it's very hard to get a real SME to talk with a candidate at the job, kind of schedule it. It costs an hour, more than an hour of her time. It's expensive. And then just having that poor HR person, someone who has a name, headhunter, okay, there's a better name, recruiter, and actually doing the scheduling instead of recruiting, and that's what they complain about. It's hard, it's slow, it doesn't really work. And then at the end, what happens in the technical interview during that hour, they do intros to each other, person probably is very talkative, and at the end of the interview, the result is a little bit of information, but typically, you may be doing absolutely differently in your companies. You have seen definitely different experiences, but what I see in every company, what I see is that technical interview ends up with good in Python, and most probably no real code was on the screen during the interview. So kind of, they talked around the Python or whatever, pick your own topic, but there hasn't been a real technical test. At the same time, putting person under a pressure, now answer what's wrong with this code during the interview is not enjoyable either, not comfortable. That's the situation. So what if you could have, we could have, the world could have a platform which for real replicates the real world kind of feeling, and the job interview happens and, hey, today you are an engineer, there's your environment, there's some details about it, there's an issue, what happened, figure it out. And do it at your own time when you are not that stressed, so probably 3 a.m. is the best time. Do it then, submit your results, you're good. What if we could have that? And then, why not, kind of, if such platform exists, then it definitely can be used for learning as well, instead of just assessment. So, open some platform, there's a scenario, and you just poke around. What containers are running if it's some Kubernetes environment, what clusters, what namespaces exist, figure it out. Probably in scenario it says that you have, I don't know, stuck pod somewhere and you need to recover it. What will you do? And things like that. So that's, yeah. So, what I have done a few weeks ago, a month, let's say a month, I actually I browsed on the internet, yeah, who doesn't know Google, but I assessed like 50 platforms like that. And I found out that pretty much none of them can do what I just told you. There are just a few which are doing kind of partly this or that, but none of them truly gives the experience which I just described. And then guess what? Why Alexei is here to listen that I'm telling he has done it. He has a platform like that. It's in very early stages, but that's something what Alexei has been working on for 2 years. Let's say 2 years. He's looking at me and thinking, what? Yeah. So, you definitely can make a screenshot because platform is up and running. Alexei likes to call it an MVP. We had an argument about that, not hiding anything. It actually works. There is a quick screenshot, but I'll try to quickly show you what's happening and how. But with this code, you can actually, not just with the code, you can open the website and you can get into the platform as a user, but using the code, you can actually get kind of an admin access just to play with it. It's up to Alexei when he's gonna run out of money and shut it down, because it costs money, obviously. And I'll try to quickly show you. Let's see what happens. I need to stop the presentation. You said, yeah. And then I move this thing. I have already logged in just to avoid another issue here and there. I keep seeing how Muratan is not coming in. Yeah, there's still an issue here. Okay. 3 minutes. So this is when you have logged in as a user, let's say as a candidate to apply for a job, and they send you a, please open this URL and in 24 hours do this exercise. And you as a candidate open it and that's it. And then where do I go now? This is, for everyone, looks like this. In my scenario, most probably it would say like Python senior developer or something like that. Open your test or something like that. There's, just to give a demo, different options. I will not try to do a test. I will not spend time on that, but right now there would be like, do these 5 tests. There's how much time maximum time you have for that, and then you just start it and see. I promised magic, didn't I? So it sets up a real environment. Of course, real environment, it has all the limits to make sure that you don't try to Bitcoin, what's the name? Mining, that you don't try to start mining something and so on. Or, did I use the right term? I haven't tried it, so I'm not expert on the topic. You get some instructions, you get a real console, and what you will find in those 50 platforms that I said I assessed, typically you get, there's a task, there's a screen for code, and then there's a button submit, you click it, it executes the code, and you get the result. So you click once, it gives you one result. Boring. This thing, you can do whatever you like in a console. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. So it's real time, and that's what's so cool about this platform. So you actually poke around the environment to try to understand what should I do. And once you are stuck, and I'm sorry if there's going to be no hint, it's all still under development, but if you're stuck, then there's a hint what I should be doing and so on. So that's the core idea of the platform, testing real skills in a real environment. If I, as a hiring manager, would get results of this, and I know that this engineer did it, they actually can go to the recording and see what was happening on his screen, partly to keep it private and secure. then I could make really good decisions. Good, but I can't stop now. So now you wait. I rather wrap it up if I find that we're almost there. We're almost there. Does this work? Yep, it does. It does. It does. Now, if you didn't get the code, obviously just ask Alexei and he'll give you the code. And so tell us what you like. There's somewhere an email, or there's gonna be an email. But now you're almost ready to go. I know everyone is hungry, but please stand up if you believe this could be a successful product. You need to stand up. I'm not joking. You need to stand up. If you don't run away. I said stand up. Okay. I think that's looking good. I think that's a very good promise. Now the reality check, or more like dream reality check. If you would have 10,000 euros just kind of lying around, and Alexei would tell you that if you invest in his business, he would bring you the double amount of that, like 20K in, I don't know, let's go with 3 years. Let's go with 2 years. 3 is a lot. Let's go with, in 2 years, he would double this investment because of successful business. Would you give those 10Ks kind of invest in this product? If not, sit down.
I kind of how much money
These are imaginary 10K, by the way. Okay, that's fair, that's fair. There are a few people standing still believing in the thing. Now the reality check, or the harsh one. If you don't have the 10K lying around and you're not ready to have this discussion with Alexei, then sit down.
I know people who would be interested.
And then for those who are still standing, you can still. And the kind of the finale is, and maybe Andre wants to drop in also a bunch of contacts, if not 10K. Then Alexei, these are your people. You need to talk with them. So. Just to wrap it up, you can stand down, sit down. Thank you. Quickly wrapping it up, what do we actually get from this as company, as whatever, how we call it, as interviewer? We will save time on interviews in general. It's lower cost. The platform is cheap. Did I say it? I probably didn't. And thank you. Let's get some food.
15. When you will hear the AC/DC song, come back. 3 minutes for coming back. For your patience. So let's move to the next part. So, how was the food? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Show me your thumbs. Good, because you were very hungry, I believe, yeah? So then everything is wonderful. Amazing. So, no more chit-chatting. Rita,
The floor is mine.
Stage is yours. Thanks. Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rita, and I actually decided to put a pretty provocative question on the first slide because I know that around Agile we have a lot of mixed feelings. We definitely have a lot of opinions, and today I'm going to share my experience. And basically the views, the observations that I will share, they will be purely based on my own experience and the observations that I have had and the talks that I have had with my peers. And I will definitely ask you also a couple of questions related to Agile and how you feel about this. You can actually start counting how many times I'm saying because this is my biggest weakness, to be honest.
You're doing good.
Yes, so actually this is something that I tried myself at home to count because this is really a pain when you pay attention to that. So stop paying attention to that as from now on. But coming back to the question, so who said Agile is going to save the world? Do you know?
Consultants.
From what?
Consultants. Which consultants?
Agile consultants.
Agile consultants. Is there such a role?
Of course.
Well, actually, as far as I know, nobody has said that. Nobody, really. So there is no guarantee that, Agile is going to save the world. However, despite the fact that, there is some failure rate and it's lower compared to waterfall approach, Agile has actually revolutionized software development. And I would believe that still, by doing Agile, well, the way we work is definitely helping us. In general, helping us. Obviously, there's a context behind. But, so also know that I'm gonna use my notes because I really want to make sure that I share with you the most important messages that I prepared for you today. Yeah, and the thing is about the Agile, I feel like often when I have had a discussion with my colleagues, I had the impression that, there is an expectation behind, that, Agile will be succeeding 100% at all times. However, there's more behind that. So by preparing for this speech today, I did a little research on how it all started, about the Agile Manifesto and, what the founding fathers think about that and how actually throughout the years it has evolved and whether, it's helping us or actually hindering us to succeed in development. So, yeah, moving on. So the agenda is going to be rather short, and I will try to be rather short because I really want to ask a couple of questions to you guys. So Agile is not all that bad. Yes, I need to bring some points there that in general it's not that all bad. Yes, there is also some good points, obviously, as to any methodology that we're using on a daily basis. And then I will definitely touch upon on common pitfalls and where it all comes from and why actually when we're applying certain Agile methodologies, something isn't working. So why is that so? Where it comes from? And then I will guide you through to the basics, back to the basics, because Agile is such a term that is worn out and eventually it has lost its meaning. So I would definitely want to see what you think about Agile. What is Agile for you? And then the last part is definitely the ball is in our court. So what it means actually that the change sits with you. So it starts with you. If there's something that we can change, it definitely starts with you. All right, so to the point, Agile is not all that bad. Right, so I already said that it definitely revolutionized the software development field. And over the past 20 years, we have seen that, right, compared to the waterfall methodology. I actually didn't put any statistics except for these. Yes, but they are rather generic because there's just so many statistics behind how Agile is bringing us results, how Agile methodology is in fact more successful compared to the traditional waterfall methodologies. But anyway, the point of today is not really that. It's more about bringing you back to the core, to the basics of where it all started and why there's a lot of misconception around the term of Agile and the way we're using it on a daily basis and the way we are actually required to work against. And so simply here, I have put these statistics just to prove my point that it's not all that bad, right? And I know that you kind of agree with me, if not fully, at least partially, right? Because there are some aspects of agility that is actually helping us in our daily life. Majority of you guys, DevOps engineers, developers, and I'm a Scrum Master currently. I've never been a developer, but I work really closely and I know the pain that sometimes, Agile and multiple methodologies brings on a daily basis, but I listen, right? So for me, it's really important to see how we can work best together, right? Okay, so here, I'm not gonna go too much into the detail, but you really understand the message here, right? That in general, or majority of the cases, Agile organizations are more successful. There's better operational performance, employee engagement is higher than the non-Agile companies, and then customer satisfaction is higher. And then, of course, obviously, its Agile projects are 3 times more likely to succeed. However, again, so we need to speak about the context whenever we're speaking about Agile projects or agility, because scale also matters, right? Agile works the best in small settings and small teams. However, the bigger the project gets, the more complex it gets, and the bigger the team gets, and eventually there's a lot of complexity around it. So trust me, I get you. And the next one here is, I tried to incorporate some of the quotes related to Agile term or concept. And here is one from Albert Einstein, and actually what it says: learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Questioning is the key word here. Because whenever, we are on a project, again, I'm speaking from my own experience, and I suppose you can also relate to that. Often we do things for the sake of doing things, right? And it doesn't make sense. So questioning is the most important part, right? So you should never stop questioning why we're doing the things that we're doing, because this is how, we can get better. Right. And there will be some memes in this slide deck because I like to be sarcastic a bit, and I can definitely relate to some of the things that are that are actually said about Agile and Agile ways of working, and there is actually a lot of common mistakes that, our clients or our companies are inclining us to do because they think that this is agile, but sorry, man, this is not. And even, the management, for example, the way we are measuring the teams or team performance, it's not, come on. Anyways, so I hope you can relate to that. Now moving on to the common pitfalls. So Agile development actually started as a simple manifesto for IT professionals from IT professionals. And they simply, wanted to gather together the best practices for software development on how to better develop software. But Agile since then has shifted and it has lost its pure meaning, and now we tend to misapply it for many things in an organization that organization does. And so here goes. Common pitfalls. Maybe you can again relate to these. That is actually wrong. So same old stuff being sold with an Agile label. Maybe you can relate to that because we often do waterfall-y things, but with Agile terms or words, because look, we're doing Agile, right? It doesn't matter that it's still waterfall approach. Agile is the end of freedom. If we feel that way, it's actually the fact that you haven't really experienced true Agile or Agile being applied correctly. Because when it's applied correctly, it actually gives us a lot more freedom, right? So bureaucracy and lack of space for developers' creativity, yeah. Who's familiar actually with this, right? A lot of meetings for the sake of meetings, a lot of check-ins for the sake of check-ins, and it's hindering us, our productivity, our motivation, our speed to delivery, and eventually, we're losing our time to really, focus on the code, for example. However, bureaucracy has never prescribed by an Agile manifesto or, for example, Agile consultants. It's actually coming from companies, right? And I think it's coming from company management that they are adding certain certain aspects that were never there when we think about Agile core values or principles, right? They were never there. So whatever we now need to deal with is actually something that is coming from our clients, from our company management. Well, yeah, we can also understand them, but there has to be some sort of, let's say, this top-down, bottom-up communication to really understand where we can find common ground. Rushing programmers in their work, programmers, developers, DevOps engineers. Again, same thing, right? So when we're speaking about iterations, sprints, we certainly need to start a task, an implementation, and we certainly need to finish it by the end of the sprint, right? Because if we're not doing that, then something is wrong. Again, yeah, this is rushing, and eventually with rushing, we know what happens. So again, this is probably, anti-Agile pattern, I would say. Just to add to that, so this is what I have seen. And actually, where does it come from? Right, okay, so actually I'm going to share, my common pitfalls that I have seen from my own experience. And this is actually coming down to 4 items. So lack of Agile understanding, I think, is the root for all the evil. Lack of trust, it's, I think, one of the building blocks for a high-performing team. In fact, lack of management support and low involvement of teams. Yeah, actually, there's also that point. Yeah, so like I said, lack of Agile understanding is the cause or the root of all the evil, simply because it's hard to put in a box because there is no one common definition of Agile. Even in Agile Manifesto, there is no definition because it consists of 4 values and principles. However, Agile, there is also an adjective, right? But we tend to use it as a noun, which is slightly wrong. or maybe not. And so this really starts there. So first is really, defining that, okay, so what is Agile for us as a company, as a project, as a team? And then we get started from there, right? So lack of trust is, like I said, a building block for a highly performing team. And when we don't have that, then yes, then there's a lot of issues, right? So you are not feeling comfortable within a team to express yourself, to raise questions, to raise your ideas, to raise your concerns. You're not willing to kind of, be involved and participate. But also I speak lack of trust when it is about the partnerships, for example, or you working with a certain client, right? So you need to build that trust that, we're equally there together and, we have a common goal. So actually there's one sentence that I want to read out loud. In essence, Agile core technology isn't technical or mechanical. It's actually cultural, and this is where the trust comes in. Lack of management support. So from my experience, I have seen that I'm speaking more about the client management, right? Because I have been working in consultancy for the past 5 to 6 years and with multiple clients. And what I have seen is that often we think we're doing Agile because we're applying certain methodologies, or for example, we're using Scrum, we're using Kanban or SAFe, a scaled framework for large organizations. And that's basically that. Okay, so we have given you the guidelines, the rules, and now you go and do me some code. And afterwards, they're not really interested. They're in, let's say, your progress or the way you work, right? Eventually, they're interested in the outcomes, right? So what are you delivering for them? But it is not how it works. You need to continuously work with the teams. You need to support them. You need to listen to your people and trust them that they are actually doing the job for you. So you need to prioritize things that are important for the team and for your developers or engineers. So this would be more of a talk for management members here, so I hope there is some, and we can definitely discuss afterwards. And last but not least is low involvement of teams. And yes, I am also part of the team, and sometimes I have my days when I feel demotivated of doing things. And where does it come from? It comes from 3 aspects that I have observed often when the project is big. It's a big organization. It's a big transformational project. There's a lot of layers, additional layers to the top, of, let's say, Scrum ceremonies, for example. This is kind of, hindering your efficiency, your productivity. Everything becomes so complex. Even, that the way architecture is built, even the microservices, how they're connected with the APIs, it's crazy, it's madness. And there's just so many dependencies, and you're going bananas, honestly. And you are not really interested in being involved and trying to do things. The other point is when there are additional, additional bosses in the team, because in Scrum team there is actually no bosses. It's self-managing team. However, yeah, some clients think, or some organizations think that, okay, we're gonna put, additional boss that is going to micromanage you, then this is how it's going to be working. It's not, because again, it takes away, teams' autonomy to do things, and it takes away decision making at the lowest level. It takes away, the accountability of the team, because there is, somebody whom I need to report to again. So it kind of, adds to low involvement afterwards. And then eventually, I think it's also related to the mix of personalities, right? Because we're different, and every team is different, and sometimes, Somebody is more talkative, somebody is less talkative, somebody is more shy, somebody is less shy, or somebody is actually acting like a boss in the team and he is not allowing others to speak up. And otherwise, you know, you feel like you don't want to say something stupid, so you are in fact afraid, right, to be yourself. So there are a lot of aspects why, you know, there might be some low involvement from the teams. Right. About the common pitfalls, I'm not going to ask you for those because I'm sure you would be able to share them. Maybe you want to share afterwards with me, but I'm sure we all have seen that. But okay, so coming back to the basics, because I really wanted to kind of, you know, go back to the base of agility as a concept. And so we're keep talking about agile. So what does it mean? What does it mean? So I did a little research, and I was struggling because there is actually a lot of definitions of what agility is, and I think I will show you afterwards in one of the last slides. I think it's more than that. It's not. Okay, so let's start with this, right? So there is actually an uppercase A, agile, and a lowercase a, agile. So whenever we're using uppercase A, agile, this is relating to frameworks, agile frameworks, right? So it's also agile as a framework for all the other methodologies, right? And whenever we're speaking about agile with a lowercase, it's a trait, right? So it's actually adjective, and it relates to flexibility, adaptability, and yeah. So here it says. So that is actually one of the things that I have found. There's also a belief that agile is a philosophy, and yeah, and I would actually agree to this because like I said, it's more than just, you know, umbrella for methodologies or, you know, just a term, right? It's more than that, but it's something in between. So is agile a philosophy? I would say so. Yes, I would agree, right? This is my subjective opinion, but I definitely want to hear yours afterwards. Because yeah, so it's more than that. It's a concept, it's a mindset. And so just, I'm going to read this out loud. So philosophy is a mindset that guides you in your holistic approach, which then steers your selection of an agile practice. So here, yesterday I was watching a video of Dave Thomas. Do you know who's Dave Thomas? Founding father, one of the founding fathers of Agile Manifesto. And it was actually a video of 2015. He was giving a speech, and he was very brutal also with his title, and his speech title was Agile is Dead. Yeah, anarchy. But so he was also speaking about the fact that, you know, we have derailed the true meaning of agile. We are using it as a noun to sell products, to sell trainings, to sell certifications, which is actually, yeah, true, we're doing that. And then, you know, he showed this, and he said, well, actually, agile is agility, right? So this is all about the flexibility, adaptability, right? And so this is what he said, right? And he's also then suggesting everyone to really come to the foundation of what true agility really means. And yeah, so, okay, enough of my monologue here. I would want to hear your view of what agile is to you. That rhymed. Did you notice? Aren't you sleeping? I see some yawns, so maybe just one word, maybe something, you know, that's.
Would you consider agile a framework, actually?
Yeah.
With a lot of ideas. Okay. So, what about the fact that agile kind of means, well, it
least it should imply that the organization itself is kind of following the same trajectory and actually accepting the Agile mindset. So it's not like there's the tech team or dev team somewhere and it's Agile and then all the other companies still follow the same process.
Yeah.
So is it maybe one of the really most common pitfalls actually?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
One of that for sure. Yes, because we see that in IT industry in particular, right? We use a lot more agile methodologies because it was primarily created for software development. And I would say because of the nature of our work, it's easier to apply. However, we now know that it is also being implemented in other functions of a company. However, sometimes it's not possible because of the nature of the work. You can apply certain I don't know, methods, certain aspects, but not necessarily, you know, whole methodology.
So what, in your opinion, in that case would be the preferred methodologies, or are there robust mechanisms to actually allow for that team to exist properly in that state? That is, there's a push from the time and the financial aspect that devs should complete their work as fast as possible. You don't really care about their splits and the right excuses why they can't plan it.
I would have a question back. Why we want to apply agile methodologies for all the functions within an organization?
No, I do not plan to apply why not? The idea is not to apply to the whole organization, but in the case it's impossible to apply to the whole organization.
It's easy.
What are the mechanisms actually, or what you've seen that actually allow for a beneficial cooperation continuation? What?
What would be impossible?
So the whole organization, for example, I don't know, it's like a manufacturer of cars. It probably can't really turn agile on the right? But there should be some sort of like techniques or methodologies to actually just try to follow.
Yeah.
What in your opinion?
Sorry, yes, I'll comment. I stayed the hand behind.
Also in front.
And in front. So one by one. But here, I don't know. So the thing is with best practices, even when we see, Facebook has gone agile, Google, Spotify, or they're the best agile companies. But then again, when we look at these best practices on the field, this is something that, works for them and it has created magic for them. And when we speak about those best practices, there's actually no universal rules that can be applied to all, projects, all the companies, copy, paste, right? It's simply impossible. So you have to find your own context. You need to really, tailor it for your own case to really then apply whatever you can apply. And when we speak about agile methodologies, so for example, for smaller scale projects, for larger scale projects, at the end of the day, if you have an agile mindset, it does not really matter which agile methodology you're going to apply, because at the end of the day, it has to have that foundation of mindset, of principles and values. And then eventually, again, agile is not a prescribed way of doing things. It's not prescriptive, but you can certainly adjust that, right? I hope that answered your question. Sorry, you were first.
What makes you thinking that Agile was created for software development?
What makes me think this way?
Just because there were some guys who are software developers doesn't mean that it was created for software development.
Agile Manifesto was created precisely for software development.
Have you reviewed it? If you see the manifesto itself,
yes.
It's not for software development. It's basically for the collaboration with the customer, because they don't want to create any fucking code which nobody is using. They want to use their time efficiently. Yeah, it's for software development in the end that the developers can focus on developing something meaningful.
Exactly.
But it's how to say, I wouldn't say it's created because of software development or for software development. It's for the
Because
collaboration
no,
created.
exactly, it's for the, yeah, but it was not for the software development. Maybe the wrong wording, but
No, I mean, my point is also because maybe that's one of the reasons why it's not working in so often in larger organizations, because they think it's for software development. No,
yeah.
it's about the collaboration between people. And it's about
Might
learning.
be, actually, good point. Good point. Yeah, good point that
And
you're
then
making.
what they wanted is that the customer is at the table, basically.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. No, it's a fair point you're making here.
Without
Yeah.
planning.
Yeah. All right, I have 10 minutes. I'm moving on. Thank you. Question there? Yes.
Is it okay if I don't ask questions? Add up?
Yes,
That's
please.
a very interesting discussion.
Please, yes.
Hi, I'm Darian, Agile coach. Yeah, don't burn me in the fire. Especially from the Agile team. I have just noticed a very good discussion you had about the pitfalls, right? And one of the things that I noticed as an Agile coach, I experienced that at some point around 2010, they invented the word evangelist. Sorry if I'm not mentioning it correctly. So, because all of the companies started to push their employees who are becoming project managers at that point to push for Agile. And that created this separation between, oh, waterfall is bad now, or Agile now is bad. And this is what I'm trying to say now for this point, is that answering your discussion a little, if I may, that I personally feel that it maybe is not the best or most efficient way to mark something as a bad methodology or newer or better methodology. And this is what Agile is for me, that it collects round of things. And as you were discussing, that maybe it's not possible to adopt Agile in all of the functions within the company, but is there a need? Because what Agile is for me is to see that specific unit might be working better with some outlines of, let's say, waterfall, some outlines of Agile. And unfortunately, I feel like it created this feud, like between some people who own different car marks or whatever, that, oh, we're waterfall, we're Agile. And for me personally, Agile is just collection of things and maybe something more to that rather than something else. And then answering also on what your point was, according to Oxford, right, that was your statistics as well, that now HR operations, which are not IT, marketing, are also the top industries for Agile as well.
So recruitment as well.
No.
Excuse me?
Recruitment agency as well.
Yes, by the way,
Doing
good
Agile.
point. So sorry, it was not much of a question.
No,
It's my 50 cents.
No, but
I
thank
couldn't
you.
resist, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
I'm Agile coach Harley.
Thank you. Because I'm not an expert. Did I say a disclaimer at the beginning? Yes. I'm not an expert. I'm basing all my observations on my 6 years in consulting industry. But I'm definitely here for your opinions and observations as well, because this is actually where, we can share our ideas, right? So how many minutes left?
7.
Right, 7. Back, and there's actually not much left, to be honest, because I have basically said the most important thing, that, Agile, agility, there's a lot of interpretation, so there's a lot of space and in the way you can interpret things, right? So, and we have that, and because of this space, there is a lot of things lost in translation, right? And even, when we follow a certain methodology, nobody has said that, we have to follow that from A to Z, only then you're doing Agile. Nobody said that. And I think nowadays we're also becoming more and more flexible with this, because when I started as a Scrum Master, somebody from my team would now say, Rita, you are doing things by the book, but now it's no longer the case, because you learn this through doing. So actually, I like this view. It kind of summarizes really well true agility. Actually, I think we needed to count how many times I have said the word agile or agility instead of But so it all really starts with the mindset, with the mindset in the team, in the project, in the organization, because it does not work when you simply apply, other agile methodology, because it really starts with a mindset first, and then through that mindset you apply the values and principles that are outlined in the Agile Manifesto, and then eventually we have multiple these methodologies that fall under the Agile umbrella. So one point to add is that no matter the methodology that you pick or choose for your team, for your project, within your company, it doesn't really differ much as long as core foundation of agility is there. Yeah, so maybe this quote. Okay, so another quote, you simply have to put one foot in front of the other and keep going. So this is about actually, doing things. So you keep going, you never stop, and the most important is to start doing things, and to not to be afraid of testing and trialing and inviting that change. So whenever something isn't working, okay, let it be, pick another thing and see how it works for your team. And this is actually what agility invites, to stay adaptive and ready for a change. Okay, and last but not least, so this is the last section. The ball is in our court, and couple of my suggestions on how we can go back to the core, go back to that pure agility, which is actually an adjective, and what it was intended to be initially. Simple. And actually, in the morning when I was reading over these 6 points, there's actually 4 because 2 of them are kind of repetitive. So from my own experience, what I would suggest to you guys is, obviously, if you want to change things within your teams or in your daily routine on your work environment, start with yourself, with building that growth mindset and looking at those values and principles, because this is all what matters. And now, let's say on paper, we're doing Scrum within my team, but we're not following all the Scrum ceremonies, or we don't have like all the artifacts, and that's fine because it works for our team. So the most important that we have those values and principles within the team, and this is actually making us a lot more agile than simply just following some guidelines given by the management. And actually, management is encouraging us to find our unique ways that suits best our team. Never underestimate collaboration and communication within the team, but then as well, like you rightly mentioned, Andrea? Yes, with a client or with a customer, right? It's one of the most important principles within Agile frameworks as well. Feel equal responsibility towards team objectives, team or actually, organizational or project objectives, and take active part in achieving them. Know that your voice counts, and you're empowered to do so, and nobody is ever going to say no to you. Obviously, it all starts with that trust, right? With that psychological safety within a team, within a project, and within an organization. But know that, you are there for a reason. And last but not least, think in solutions and not problems. Yeah, sometimes we tend to whine and we tend to complain because it's simple and it's easy. I'm generalizing, but of course, it's not like for all, not every person is the same, but you get the point, right? Whenever, we see, okay, something isn't working, something is bothering you, just, okay, you can tear it down, but propose something new, right? Come with a solution, come with an idea, okay, what we can do instead. There's no silly ideas, actually. Every idea is a great idea. And the most important thing, again, with Agile, let's say, methodologies, is the fact that, we can trial something, for a certain period of time, and we can drop it if it's not working for us. Yes, and welcome the challenges, embrace the changes, and nothing grows in the comfort zone. Another point is about this continuous improvement, right? Continuous learning. So you learn, when you learn, you grow, and when you stop learning, you stop growing. Do you want to do that? Really? So I really encourage you to step out of your comfort zone more often, like I did, for example, today. I'm afraid of public speaking. I don't know. I think I managed it pretty well. I don't know. You can share your feedback afterwards. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe somebody wants to add on, points, your suggestions. 1 minute? 1 minute?
Yeah. I am coming from like telco industry,
Yes.
and our lot of old telco guys also came to this new company. Yes, we are telling agile, but they mindset won't change because they have worked in this telco for 20 years. They don't care about customer, and it's really hard to change. And second one is cultural differences. Like we are from different countries, we are hiring all over world, and sometimes these cultural differences are not helping us to be
Yeah.
agile as we wanted.
Yeah. You said client, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes we need to follow. Yeah. Sometimes we need to follow, and it's hard to impact things, and that's the toughest part. Yeah. When things are easy, it's simple, right? When we have challenges, then it becomes different. But change is actually not something that is never going to happen. It will happen, but at that own time. I was actually speaking with one of my colleagues, and he said, he was actually pitching one of the ideas for his team for 6 months. And after 6 months, they started to really listen to him, and they started to really think, okay, can we try this out? What was that? Yes, Agile coach. Maybe something to add.
It's my label, right?
Sorry, I didn't hear your name.
Daria, my name is
Daria.
If I may, just one of my suggestions.
Please.
Usually what worked for me is not pushing agile people and saying this is the right way to do.
Yeah.
Getting to the point working with people when they decide what to do. And apparently it become agile because it's quite natural for us as human beings, and then people kind of adapt to whatever they decided to do easier rather than push themselves.
Yeah.
That's it for me. No agile coach for the evening.
Sorry, Daria. Thank you.
I can support Daria. This is what we do in our recruitment agency. So we started this as an experiment in Europe with Agile just before COVID, when it ended. And now we are coaching our US colleagues how to do that. And it's also not pushing, really. It's really hard to push. It's no pushing at all. So we are leading by example.
Yeah.
So we are doing it for 2 years, almost, this Agile. So, and they see our results. Yeah. And then they're interested, what are you doing differently than we do that you are a better result than we do? We're waterfall, etc. What they do.
Yeah.
So this is also the answer to your concern that this cultural difference.
Yeah.
Also how we work, how Americans work.
Yeah. And giving an example is actually the best way, right? How to show okay, this actually works. Yeah.
Start with one team and then the whole organization will take it over if they will be interested in that.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. So I really need to close this off, but this was the Agile Onion that I thought, okay, this actually depicts really well the Agile concept as a whole. It really starts with a mindset, and it drills down to tools and processes. Funny, right? Right, so enough with the quotes, enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita. We have 10 minutes for questions.
Right.
All good, so you are on the safe side. Okay. 10 minutes, so I will put my timer on still. So just first question from my side to the audience. How many Agile people we have here and how many DevOps, so raise hands Agilists? Please.
I'm glad
I
about that.
Scrum, I don't know, Kanban, any kind of.
Those can overlap, right?
Yeah, just not a tag, but like that you I understand. Okay, so others are like DevOps people, yeah? Okay, good to know. DevOps. Go on for questions, please.
Right, yeah, so questions, comments. I would like to hear your opinions. Yes.
Yep. So I have a question because you started your presentation with the negatives of the Agile, that what you have faced. So I would like to ask, what's that turning point in your life where you decided, okay, this is not the what I really that Agile is something bad I'm doing, or something worse, or the worst case scenario where you realize you need to adopt some other methodology along with Agile, where you need a customized change with the Agile manifesto. So what's that turning point or scenario of a project? It could be a project, it could be a person, anything.
Turning point for me to actually see Agile as a good thing?
Bad thing.
No.
Good we know, right? We have books to
Yeah,
things.
there's definitely pros and cons to any methodology, right? Turning point.
Or I would like to give a scenario, like if you're working for a research project where you don't know what is the requirement.
Yeah.
It's a purely research.
Yeah.
Like you're researching for a NASA satellite maybe. So you don't know what you really need to build or how much distance it is or any sort of requirement.
Yeah.
So there you prefer to go with the Agile or what sort of methodology you know?
Of course they would go with Agile methodology. Yeah, to me, I mean, you really need to understand first your context, right? So how I see it, I was actually having the opportunity to be really at the start of a project when, we're kind of negotiating, okay, what will be the methodology we're going to use. And then, we simply said, yeah, it's going to be scaled agile because, this is what every large company is doing. And I thought, okay, fine, let's do this. But, eventually, these were DevOps teams. And I thought, okay, but how are we going to do this? It's going to be a lot different. Eventually, we went with it. But the question I still had was whether, we're going to follow the Scrum or Kanban. I really was thinking, still in that out-of-the-box mindset. I was really thinking, okay, so how we're going to apply, the certain aspects of Scrum or Kanban. But then I moved to another project, and there I had the opportunity to speak with really experienced engineers and agile coaches, and then they kind of, really made a turning point in me that, I realized it doesn't matter, if, let's say, you are a company, you have, let's say, 10 teams, it does not mean that, all the teams should follow the same methodology.
But these days, management fashionably
implies, yeah.
But then you don't have any option. Sometimes you don't have any option to, say no. This is not gonna be working with the methodology you defined.
Yeah. But it also really matters on the management itself, right? Because some they are simply that, you must follow this and that, and then you have this challenge to overcome and to and actually fight that back. But whenever, let's say, your management is having that agile mindset or growth mindset, they are allowing you to experiment and to find really, the best, what suits best for your team. And that is anarchy, basically. You can do whatever you want, but it works. It's not like it's not working. I don't know if I answered your question, but I did.
But the good thing is you cannot go out of the agile. That's why I wanted you to leave the agile and think something else if you have anything. But we cannot, right? We cannot leave the agile and we cannot think out of the agile. No? You can customize it, but you didn't mention any other methodology. I wanted to listen.
Which is another methodology?
You need to tell.
That's what the question is.
What are like? Well, but the thing is, if your company is having made agile, and some team is more comfortable, for example, with waterfall, it still will be agile.
The company?
What if the management already took the contract on the basis of word agile, but they don't know what it is?
Well,
You know,
I have
that's
a
one
kid.
case scenarios.
I have a kid, and there's a methodology how to raise a kid, which is like Montessori. Nobody knows what it's about, but everybody putting that word. Yeah.
Daria has a comment, I think.
No, question this time. Okay, I keep surprising you guys.
Yes.
Just your experience on the very lovable topic of all developers and everyone in the team who is not a Scrum Master or Agile coach, daily stand-ups. How do you work with teams who have, unfortunately, had not the best experience over their career with daily stand-ups, and therefore you become their Scrum Master, Agile coach, whatever, and you introduce them, and they are super not willing to do that, telling you this is waste of time, this is a micromanaging, this is additional checkup, and so on. What's your experience with that?
You want to see how I would approach the situation?
Just let's say it's a very wide topic, so maybe just the basic one when someone comes to you and says that I'm not willing to do stand-up because it's a waste, this is micromanagement, you're checking me, you're a manager, and all of those stuff that we hear on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a wake-up call. So let's say something like that. So what is your experience?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that well. Do you want to add on that? Or another topic?
My question would be, what is the goal of the stand-up itself? It's not the reporting that the team has to report. The goal of the stand-up is basically that the Scrum Master understands what the team needs to work without disruption.
Yeah, so that's a question to how you approach these kind of situations.
Yeah. Okay, so if there is actually somebody within a team who feels like this is a waste of time, obviously that person has done the stand-ups wrong. Okay, I'm kidding.
So past that, so how will you?
How I will do that? Obviously, first of all, nobody is doing that for me. Honestly, you are not doing that for a Scrum Master or for a product owner. Team, you need to understand that this is for you to really, to get that ownership of a product that you're building, right? And this is kind of, a space, time slot in your agenda to come together and as a team to really share, like, what are you working on? Do you have like any issues? Do you need some support? How we're gonna get there? Really, it's kind of, it's a, I would say check-in, but it's really for the teammates, right? So it's more for you guys to sync. And you never do that as a reporting for a Scrum Master. Scrum Master don't care.
Well, I told my teams that daily stand-ups is not really good. Like, today I did this, and in block of this. No, daily stand-up is a little knowledge transfer to your teammates. So if you get the broker, tell about it, tell how did you handle it, do you need something. In order, if your teammate has the similar blocker, it will be much faster to resolve.
Yep.
Well, also we have some dailies without a Scrum Master, and then we like saying grown-ups not at home. That's very fun.
Really?
Yes.
Or mom is not at home, if it's a mom, obviously. You can also be a dad.
Well, but we're not like.
Yeah, but I get your point. It's actually good what you say. It's a knowledge transfer. Yeah, you can also, Daria, would you agree? It's also something that I would agree. Yeah, it's a knowledge transfer. And I think, if we're speaking about Scrum Guide, there was recent changes that they actually got away from those 3 questions that you were, let's say, prescribed to ask in a daily stand-up. Now, 2020 version of Scrum Guide is not prescribing these 3 questions. So you can really do whatever, you don't necessarily need to focus on those 3 questions. It's really about that sync for the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Very
Thank
well.
you.
Very good done. I didn't know that it's like your first time ever, so
Oh, wow.
very good. You should do it more often. And for those who are shy or want to try, you are more than welcome to come with your topic. We will help to prepare. You can be like Rita, so be the first one and challenge yourself. And now the part for DevOps Talk. So all this, it's your part.
There should be a slide.
There should be a slide. I'm not a page person.
So
I'm an agile person.
there should be a slide. I haven't seen that slide for many months. So
Thank you, actors.
I know that a lot of people are tired out. I am as well. And those who need to leave, they leave, they say thank you. Not mandatory. They leave. There's gonna be a slide, that's good. But I'll put on my facilitator hat. I'm not gonna do crazy pitch. No. And we will discuss a few topics what you want to discuss. I will open with a topic which I want to discuss, which is very important for you. And those who feel like spending 30 minutes or so more, will stay. The rest, definitely, no worries, don't feel pressure to stay here. The question also goes to Andrea, at what time they kick us out? All good? You were not listening. Agnes says the key.
I have just.
You have the real physical key.
Not me, the other Agnes.
Okay.
I just have the scan the QR code while you're listening to all this.
Yeah, where was that slide?
Drop in your feedback. Like 3 questions, not more, or 4.
That's about the event.
And you can continue, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so but I promise that I will put on my facilitator calm hat. And then can we get that slide about what is the DevOps Talk? How do we do that?
Have you scanned the QR code?
Is it here?
Yes? All good? Then you can move it
Yeah.
to the right side.
So we haven't done it for, it works, I just clicked it. Yeah, we haven't done it for a while because typically it's so late that the organizers are super tired out and they are the ones who want to leave. I feel the same, but at the same time I'm going back to, was it September or whatever, and it was actually amazing to have it. But yes, don't feel pressure to say thank you. Anyhow, so we'll have a little discussion. We'll actually have that discussion over there so that you can take the last beers, not bears. Yeah, I'm messing up with those words, you know it already. And then there's just a few things to remember that if you are sharing something, telling something, remember that you most probably have signed the NDA, if not with your company, then maybe with your wife, that counts as well, or a husband. And then, we will all enable cameras. So that's still from the slide from online times. Everyone shares something who joins there to discuss. And we're quite a few people, so it's not like everyone will have a chance to discuss. So I'll ask over there once you have moved and got your mind in place. But everyone who participates shares something. And then talk about your own experience and be judgment-free, meaning that if there's going to be someone telling something, then the other person should never ever say, you should go and tell your colleague that he is stupid. No, the nice way is to say, I would go to a colleague if I would have such and tell that he is stupid. Makes sense. Never do that at work, obviously, or anywhere in this world. But talk only about your own experience.
You can do it once.
And if someone calls other people stupid, it's not your place to tell that person is wrong. I will do that. I take the ownership of the event. Yeah, I'll take the responsibility of facilitating it through some a respectful occasion. Yeah, do not interrupt each other like it was a few moments here. I will control that and then be present and follow the talk. No phones. If you're there, then you're there. So now We leave this room, we go over there, there's probably some pizza, there's definitely some beers, get drunk if you don't have work tomorrow, not my business. And let's go. Enough of sit. Let's go.
Just reach the Walmart people.